December arrived, and the club was tinged with red, green, snowy snow. The girls were like elves and the sexy daughters of Santa Claus. The 24th arrived, and Anora called me because she had rented a special room at the plaza.
Like in Home Alone, dear, look, we can mix up the Christmas food you like. That sweet bread full of raisins you told me about. Yes, the panettone. The Hanukkah food you'll love, Lux. We can fry a turkey, then drink hot chocolate. We'll invite my landlady. You know, she loves me, and since I'll be leaving in January and won't see me anymore, she wants to contribute some pelmeni and roast goose. What will we call the party? A Christmas Hanukkah. I just hope my parents don't find out. They'd disown me. I don't think I need them at this point. I'll invite my sister. You'll see her soon enough. I want to work things out with her. Yes, that would be best. I was relieved to know that he would do everything possible to reconcile with his family dash. See you at 9 p.m. Don't forget the panettone. I know you hate applesauce. That makes two of us. See you later. I'll bring some movies to watch after midnight. 2 Tim Burton movies that I watch religiously during the Christmas holidays. Yes, I loved it, Klaus. Thanks for not letting me watch it alone.
On Christmas Eve, Anora let the girls take a break, and the next day, something Jimmy had to accept without a word. They would organize their own celebration. I was the first to arrive at the Plaza Hotel. With permission from the management, I entered the small room my friend had rented. As if waiting for them and to set the Christmas mood, I started listening to Christmas carols from my childhood and adolescence, waiting for them to arrive. It was 9 o'clock, and Anora was next. She was dressed like Santa's elf, with a red hat and a tight little dress with white cotton trim. I helped her with what she had brought, an extra Dom Perignon and the culinary specialties she'd mentioned. We sat down and listened to Christmas carols from my country or other pop songs, which I had to translate for her in some parts, since she enjoyed them too.
I love the one by, what's his name? Perales. As long as they stop the war and a cannon goes to sleep, it reminds me of that Christmas in 1914. Yes, the Christmas truce. She surprised me. I've been avoiding nonsense on YouTube lately. I have dedicated myself to researching important things following your advice. When you feel compassion for a friend and their pain were parts of a song that broke her a little. You felt compassion for me and you accompanied me in my pain, snuggling up to my side. Right at 10 o'clock, Lady Lena arrived with her daughter Elena, Lulu, and, to my surprise, Igor, along with Toros and Garnick. Your sister hasn't come, I mentioned it to my friend, surprised Dash. She traveled with her boyfriend to California to visit my parents, but I'll say hello around midnight. Don't worry, this won't ruin our evening. At 11 o'clock, I called Peru to say hello to my family, starting with my mom. Anora did the same, but it seemed her family still hadn't been welcoming her. Did you manage to greet them? Are you okay? I asked, worried, as it seemed I hadn't managed to have a long conversation with them. Dash. Just my sister briefly. Everyone is gathered celebrating Hanukkah. I think if they were here, they wouldn't notice the difference so much. Maybe only if they knew what celebration that panettone you brought is eaten for. In addition to the large pine tree decorated with lights and the colorful garlands on the walls.
You have a family here, you're not alone. Please enjoy the evening. We'll watch 2 movies later, along with Iggy and Lulu. My last words revived her spirits. We approached the table where the others were, and amid laughter, we shared anecdotes from the past year.
Now that I think about it, you, my boy, were much more of a man than my boss's son. You didn't abandon this lady and you didn't care about her past or her reputation, said Toros, who had uncorked a bottle of Artsakh vodka. No one's going to say no. We're all going to toast this young woman who was reborn like a phoenix and is now the boss of where I used to work. Well, I'm one of the bosses. She proudly accepted her glass. Is it true, girl, that you knocked out a guy who tried to rob you in Las Vegas? Garnick asked. Igor told me. You hit him harder than the one you hit me in the nose. You have Jamie Summers' legs. Girl, strong, but beautiful. Anora smiled as she drank. I kicked him in the family jewels at the end. While holding a knife, he nearly cut my stomach, So I smashed a heavy lamp over his head and then punched him unconscious. I was about to have a private toxic party and spend all my earnings on more fun, but he saved me. He came like Jesus Christ to cure me of my addictions.
You were a brave girl, don't worry, you can count on Igor, Toros, and this servant, who has experienced your strong determination and character firsthand. We esteem you greatly, too. We've been through a lot, you can count on us to take care of you, like friends, free of charge. That boy who pretended to love you doesn't know what he's lost by abandoning you, he's a poor devil. You can count on us for anything, Ani, Igor added. You're now our heroine, Anora.
Ты настоящий воин, дочка. Что бы о вас ни говорили, вы заслужили мое уважение.
Lady Lena mentioned, approaching Anora and placing her hands on my friend's shoulders.
You'd be a great sister to Elena, better than my ungrateful children. What my landlady said, in a Russian I understood a little less than the others, provoked a bittersweet feeling in Anora. For the first time in her life, she felt appreciated and honored by people outside her inner circle at work. She accompanied her smile with a tear as my landlady hugged her. Is it true you have very strong legs? How strong do you have to be to hold on to those poles? I've seen pole dancers, they have very muscular legs, they look like circus performers. Do you know that Russian circuses are the best? Elena asked Anora, wanting to get to know the person we had admired as a Christmas gift. We have Russian blood, my friend, that's our advantage. But I needed a hero from South America to keep me from falling. Things like what I went through can kill you, or make you stronger. I always wanted a younger sister, someone to protect, now that I can. Would you teach me to dance? Sure, but lead a healthy life, no vices, only then will you be as strong as a Russian circus performer. They both laughed and continued sharing their anecdotes. I opted to find another kind of music, one that wouldn't offend my 14-year-old friend. Please don't change it. That music from your country, I love it, Elena asked, surprising me. I think the classics from a coastal school choir had dazzled her. Repeat the one by Perales and Gloria Estefan, Anora suggested to me, and the one by Bryan Adams, also that beautiful one from Wham. The one by Mariah Carey, I love that one, Toro suggested. If you have Tatsuro Yamashita's Christmas Eve, please play it, and Andrea Bocelli's God Will Bless Us, Igor did too which filled me with great joy, because at home I had to listen to them alone. It was midnight. We all greeted each other. Anora and I, in particular, hugged each other tightly. After caressing her face and kissing her hands, she gave me another of her smiles that overwhelmed me. My landlady did the same, almost wanting to break my ribs. Elena stole a very intense, almost Gallic kiss from me, which left no one indifferent. The first kiss I've ever received, said the 14-year-old, like the one Kirsten Dunst gave Brad Pitt in Interview with the Vampire, you know. It was fun kissing someone older, a Russian kiss with all my heart. You'll get him in legal trouble, girl, Toros mentioned seriously. So what? I might never see him again, the girl exclaimed, looking at him. May he take the best part of New York and Russia together to Peru. Elena left my side, giving me a mischievous smile and a wink at the end. I had no choice but to smile back. Or else it would anger her mother, as she loved me like one of her own. I confess, Elena, that when I was your age, I longed for a first kiss like the one Aladdin received from Jasmine, on her balcony, with the carpet pushing me toward her brown lips. But the reality is simpler and less magical than we might believe, since I received it from a girl like me, Anora interrupted, was a very valuable kiss, considering how expensive it was. Laughing at the end, a laugh that infected Elena. I'm so sorry, I mean, there were no girls where you lived. Did you not like any of them? More like, little friend. They didn't like me, I was an invisible teenager. None of them were sexy Russian girls, Anora opined again. But a few months ago, she received a very varied international menu, and for free. Very gourmet. That comment puzzled Elena and made me burst into a stifled laugh, which my older friend behind me managed to share, even infecting the teenager, who laughed even though she didn't quite know what it was all about.
Before dinner, we set about distributing the gifts. I had confessed to Anora, and even earlier to Lady Lena, that I didn't tend to give or receive gifts around this time of year. Anora affectionately told me that the gift she had given me was more than enough. She never tired of reminding me how much it meant to her to have helped her live a more dignified life and treated her like a woman. I told her it was the same on my part, her friendship was more than any other gift. But neither of us could resist sharing a gift. I had bought my friend and business partner a fine bottle of Bison's by Roche's, scented with pear, bergamot, and heliotrope flower. With my savings for a second meeting, she told me she would give me my present later. I couldn't buy things of that category for my other friends who were there, but they all gave me a huge amount of gifts, since it would be the last Christmas we would celebrate together. For Lulu, I couldn't think of a better idea than a box of Magno artisanal chocolates for her ancestors. She was incredibly moved by this, kissing me deeply. She reciprocated with a simple package that I later discovered was a thin sweatshirt with the new headquarters logo and a rising new moon. For Elena, a video game lover, I gave an original copy of Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, which she would now play on her brother's console, not mine. She had also bought one for me, along with A Plague Tale, Innocence and others that would make my brother happy. In return, she told me that she had already given me my gift, a kiss you should have received at the age of 14, from a 14-year-old girl. Lady Lena didn't want any of my gifts, but I gave them to her anyway. I had enough for a simple but meaningful one. She loved Eva Alon, and I got her a vinyl record at a store, since she hated the digital format. I didn't expect anything from her, but she still gave me a black trench coat to match my motorcycle, which I would leave behind when I left. Elena mentioned that it would make me look like Neo. I didn't expect anything from my now friends Igor, Garnik, and Toros. I'd already received enough from them when they told me I was a real man for treating Anora with dignity. But between the three of them, they gave me something from Mother Russia, a Russian military Sturmansky wristwatch. The three of us bought it, friend, Igor mentioned. From the honorable Russian army for a man of honor like you, Toros continued. A true hero, Garnik concluded. And, boy, you don't have to give us anything as a gift, just that delicious food they brought, and we got the vodka. What time are we having dinner? I'm really hungry. Well, let's get started, my landlady exclaimed. We settled down to dinner. Lady Lena had brought traditional Russian Christmas music and forced us to dance to it. It was fun alternating partners. Lady Lena wasn't bothered by her daughter vying for my company with Anora. I had to deal with two types of hair, a long, midnight-colored one and a semi-short, midday-colored one. At 1 a.m., Lady Lena, her daughter, the no longer little Elena, along with Toros and Garnik, decided to leave, each saying goodbye with a hug. Elena, as always, greeted me with something extra. Without anyone noticing, except Anora and Lulu, and leaving me half bewildered and half awestruck, she took my right hand and placed it on her bust, and the other on one of her buttocks. She smiled mischievously and joined her mother.
So you'll stop underestimating yourself, darling, Lulu whispered to me, while Anora stifled a laugh by covering her beautiful mouth. I hope, son, this isn't the last Christmas we spend. We know you'll be leaving after the new year. We'll miss a real man, Toros mentioned as he left the room.
This girl is going to need you a lot, Garnik added. I told myself she wouldn't need me anymore, although seeing her from afar made it harder to leave her. I decided to keep quiet. Anora had enough knowing she wouldn't see me again for a long time. She'd told me many months ago that she didn't want me as a boyfriend or as a husband, but we'd fucked like there was no tomorrow, even confessing to me that she had a much better time than with her ex-husband or any other I'd been with. I preferred not to delve into that secret, just enjoy the softness of her skin, the scent of her body, the taste of her intimacy. She gave me her kisses for free, something she hadn't done with anyone other than her now-forgotten husband. I didn't care about certain secrets about her, they were her thing. I focused more on enjoying what she kept for me. I don't think I could have had that with anyone else. The truth is, it's going to be hard to experience it that way again. It was 1:30 in the morning. Anora, Igor, and I were the only ones in the room. I suggested watching 2 movies, and all 3 agreed. Anora even mentioned that she didn't want to waste time sleeping, as I'd be leaving soon and wanted to make the most of it. It was 1:30 in the morning. Anora, Igor, and I were the only ones in the room. I suggested watching 2 movies, and both agreed. Anora even mentioned that she didn't want to waste time sleeping, as I'd be leaving soon and wanted to make the most of it. I played Batman Returns on the big TV first. Excellent! Iggy exclaimed. I love Tim Burton. I have an uncle who looks like Michael Keaton.
And you look like Mr. Freeze, Anora said playfully. You always have that bald head. That movie was terrible. Igor replied, alluding to the one starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. More like Krillin, I added to myself, giving a small, silent smile. And your savior, Annie, has a bit of Keaton, although the look is like Christian Bale, Lulu added smiling. The 3 of us enjoyed the movie, even singing along to Face to the Phase by Siuxie and the Banshees at the end credits. Then I played Edward Scissorhands, a movie that Anora confessed made her cry, and with which I identified, since upon returning to my country far from her, I would return to the not-so-comfortable comfort of solitude. It was almost 6:30 in the morning, and, to my surprise, no one had fallen asleep. I stayed on the couch for a while. Igor mentioned he wanted to see his grandmother and headed for the door. I told him not to worry, I'd clean everything up. You won't do it alone, friend, Anora announced. I know there's housekeeping in this elegant hotel, but we have to show our politeness by helping out a little. Besides, today is Christmas. We should be generous. Count me in, friends. I made a mess of things too. Sorry, the party was great. It wasn't like a party like a rich client's, but at least our host was more than that. A friend, Lulu said, halfway between sadness and joy. A friend I'm also going to miss. While we were cleaning, I preferred to remain silent, but Anora was an expert at breaking it. Please play that Mariah Carey song. I've loved it since I was a child, although I only listened to it secretly, you know. You're a Jewish girl, and you like Christmas things. I didn't realize you'd ever been to church, my friend, just like I went to a synagogue. I like the music, the movies, the decorations. I'm moved by what happened that Christmas in 1914, but that doesn't mean I'm going to learn the entire Bible or the Torah. You're a real woman, Anora, I responded, eager to stay, but I let reason win. Look, I might not buy you a $5,000 ring, but you won't be away for long. Next year I'll be back, even if it's just for a few hours. I would prefer it to be weeks or years. We looked at each other for a few seconds, her expression somewhere between melancholy and serious. I'll put on Christmas Time by Bryan Adams again. I've always liked Bryan Adams. I've listened to him since I was a child. Also put on Merry Christmas, The War Is Over by John Lennon. Yes, please, Lulu begged. Then play Christmas Eve by Tatsuro Yamashita, although I like it better in Japanese. We sat for a while listening to Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by Tatsuro Yamashita and Mariya Takeuchi. Lulu said goodbye, wishing us Merry Christmas again and asking us to call her later. She closed the door and left us sitting alone on the couch. In the movies we watched, none of the heroes get the girl. Seriously, can you stand being alone? I've gotten used to it, Anora. At my age, you get used to it and it doesn't affect you as much. It becomes part of you, like roots. No wonder the younger guys start crying and begging you not to leave them. They're pathetic, you're not. I don't want a green card. I don't care if I have to turn me into someone like your ex-husband. Let's not talk about it, you're better than him. I'll be waiting for you.
Until 8 o'clock in the morning, we stared at Central Park. She put her head on my shoulder. I stroked her long hair, she loved it. On the radio played a version of Put Your Head on My Shoulder by Paul Anka, a duet with Chilean singer Mirian Hernández. It brought back memories of my adolescence, during a Lima winter in 1996, with no one to dedicate it to. Please never cut it, I begged her subtly.
No, but if I want, I'll curl it. It'll be like Nicolette Larson's.
Gonna take a lot of love to change the way things are.
It's gonna take a lot of love. To change the way things are, she began to sing a little off-key, just as she changed the station and found that same song. We left the plaza and, after a brief goodbye in the form of a hug, we each headed home. Halfway there, we stopped. She was the first to speak, turning her gaze. Let's spend the day together, smiling, tossing her hair to the side. Let's not waste time avoiding each other. When we got to her house, I turned up the volume on Andrea Bocelli's Dios nos bendiga, God will bless us, which reflected what both Anora and I had done for each other. Besides being the ending theme song to a beautiful movie I had seen earlier in the week starring my friend's favorite actor, we spent the whole day watching all 6 films in the Star Wars saga, along with Rogue One. She hated sequels like I did, so we ruled them out. I remember watching the originals with my grandparents. They loved them. And my parents, I replied with satisfaction. My mom loves the prequels. Me too. What do you think about the sequels, An? I can tolerate the 7th, the 8th. Not much. I'm not excited to see the 9th. Let's watch it tomorrow after work. In the room, we can act as critics. Okay, but if it turns out to be an inferior one, I'll leave the theater. The next night we went inviting Lulu. Since Anora was the boss, she gave her a few hours off. When the screening was over, I had no choice but to say that this last year of the decade was one of great disappointments. What a piece of shit. Anora said without getting worked up. I would have been better off staying home watching the first 6 parts, along with that handsome Mexican actor and my favorite European actress, Felicity Jones. It was decent, Lulu added, but nothing extraordinary. Explosions, gunshots, nothing special. Really? Turning to me, you spent time and money on the latest Terminator and the X-Men one as well? Funny, I replied calmly. We learn from our mistakes. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, 2 legends wasted. You did it too, Anora mentioned, laughing quietly. You love Michael Fassbender and Diego Boneta. They're both excellent actors, Lulu responded, exasperated. Wasted in such a... What do you say, friend? Cohuda, I replied, holding back my laughter, especially Boneta. Fassbender at least lifted his mediocre film somewhat. Our movie marathons have improved our tastes, Anora noted happily. Things we'll miss about our favorite Peruvian. We saw Joker and the latest Rambo, I added, trying to regain my dignity. Speaking of Rambo, Lulu said, snapping out of her disappointment, you can't imagine how much I enjoyed it when Rambo tore those sons of bitches to pieces. I imagined your ex, Vanya, standing in front of him, shitting her pants before I ripped out his heart. I prefer, my dear, to imagine us all curing that poor boy's depression. Yes, Arthur Fleck, since the pretty brunette wasn't paying attention to him. We'd make his fantasies come true. Let's cut back on the crafts. Laughing at the end. Diamond would set him on fire, like he did with our friend. She laughed too. I think we'd hasten his descent into madness. It's possible, I interrupted, if you gave him a squad of many Harley Quinns. Anora almost ended up like her in Las Vegas. But I sent you a bat call and you saved me. Otherwise, I would have turned into a zombie because of the drugs I would have taken. But I still became something different. Yes, love, Lulu added, caressing her face. You're not the same as before. You look so much better. You look more beautiful. And you too, my friend. It was worth quitting smoking. And vaping. We smell better now.
Ladies, are you hungry? How about some Chinese food again? I'd like something light, some soup. What do you think? They both nodded. They approached me, each of them taking one of my arms, and we walked to a small Chinese restaurant. The 3 of us ordered wonton soup, and to drink, despite the cold, some Chinese soda. What are we doing for New Year's? I asked, trying to get off the subject. Like Anora, I felt cheated.
Karaoke, buddy, karaoke, she replied with emotion, so get your voice ready. Lulu told me you sing very well. As long as you don't sing something with the intention of sending us to hell, Lulu added, smiling. We have 4 days left. I have a few in mind to say goodbye. I think Diamond has a Flashdance-style dance number, Anora mentioned. We'll get the audience wet. They'll be mostly Japanese, and they make good money. Film it, Girls, post it on social media and make your club even more famous. Good idea, dude. Lulu added, exclaiming. Let all of New York and the rest of the world know that headquarters doesn't just show off asses and tits, but something of quality, Anora concluded, approaching me. The two girls got serious in no time. I had won Lulu's appreciation, even more so after my birthday bash, avoiding the excessive alcohol and no drugs. How about another marathon, friend? Anora suggested. I want to get rid of the bad taste this movie left in my mouth. Join us, Lulu, 2 movies a day. Our friend loves movies and finds it unbearable to watch a movie alone. Starting in January, he'll have to do it. Which was true, well, relatively true. Although I had a feeling we'd have plenty of time for it. It was 4 days of watching movies about a galaxy far, far away to get rid of the bad taste left by the 9th, although of course we put more emphasis on the first 6 and the one from 3 years ago. I would miss these girls too much because of their sensitivity, since no matter how many times they'd seen a dramatic scene, there were always tears involved.
The 31st arrived. I headed to the headquarters, more than anything, to see what Anora and her girls had prepared. More than a private party, it was one for anyone who wanted to participate. That night, business really exploded, as they even had Japanese guests, all of them with their very unique versions of hits from the 60s to the decade just around the corner. The girls even acted as backup singers when a young customer sang Walter Egan's Magnet and Steel. Then Diamond appeared with his own unique version of a flash dance scene. Never before had I heard Shandy's He's a Dream with such energy, then soaking the audience with the water that fell on her when she lay down on the chair, that same Jennifer Beals. Which only increased the euphoria. I was at the bar, drinking a Brooklyn, my jacket was on a chair because some of the water from Diamond's dancing had fallen on me. Anora danced up to me with her drink, which made me happy. The cigarette had long since disappeared from her lips, which made her look even more radiant and smell more delicious. Don't even think about leaving, or Lulu and I will drag you out. Everyone there is going to sing, even Jimmy. Diamond told me she'd be performing I'm Outta Love by Anastacia. She wanted to get something off her chest.
Will you be singing alongside Lulu? Sure. And you better have something prepared. Too, I replied, remembering the first time I saw her almost naked. I owe you a song. We'll both be singing Fight Song by Rachel Platten. I think it'll be more than appropriate.
It was time for the girls' show. As a prelude, Jimmy performed She's a Lady by Tom Jones, perhaps as a way of apologizing to Anora and the other girls who ran the club. Diamond surprised more than a few, she had a truly powerful voice and let out all the negativity she'd bottled up inside. Anora also let out her frustrations by singing the song she'd told me to, alongside Lulu. She looked me in the eyes as if thanking me profusely for not abandoning her. It was already 11:30, and my dear friend told me it was my turn. I would have hoped it would be Iggy's, but work wouldn't allow her to come. I stood in front of the stage and remembered the first time I saw her, in worn-out jeans and a faded jacket, then with glitter on her eyes and red bows in her hair, her wide smile, and since we got back from Las Vegas, how much younger she'd gotten. The bruise on her eye had already vanished, and her lips looked delicious. I smiled at her and then belted out, I Just Died in Your Arms, by Cutting Crew. During the final guitar solo, I loved watching her dance, tossing her hair and keeping her eyes closed, showing me she was enjoying the song. Midnight arrived, and after greeting my family at home, we gathered to watch the fireworks, welcoming each other into a new year and a new decade. I wanted to kiss Anora, but she got in first, then whispered,
Tonight you're going to die in my arms.
Smiling later, how about one more song? I remembered I'd practiced a Toto song, and I decided to dedicate it to her by entering the venue first and taking over the stage. I then sang Stop Loving You by Toto with all my might, which made everyone in the venue move their arms and dance to the ballad. Anora did the same, which motivated me even more. Even a young Japanese man came up on stage to pretend to be Steve Lukather. After Is This Love by Whitesnake. Tired and melancholic, I decided not to sing anymore. I sat on a sofa in the venue until I decided on a time to say goodbye to the girls. It was 2 a.m. and I decided I'd had enough partying. I asked Lulu to say goodbye to them all, as they were very busy. She agreed. I looked for Anora, but she wasn't there. As I left, I called her, but she had a surprise for me. She answered by standing behind me, back to back.
We have a private party left, buddy. Plus, I owe you one for last year. What if the first day of the year is ours?
I didn't respond, I just kissed her intensely and took her home, where the only sound I could hear was her moans, very intense, along with our labored breathing. We repeated the hotel experience, the pool experience in Las Vegas, and this house on my birthday. Although every time I asked her if she protected herself when we had sex, she replied that I shouldn't worry. Besides, apart from her ex-husband and the one time with Igwe, she'd done it with me without a condom. Although of course, after having done it with my bald friend, she had to thoroughly wash her vagina. But this time, she didn't bother washing. Instead, she bathed me in her perfumed sweat and her squirts, which, as she'd confessed, came more easily with me. The day passed quickly and slowly, between orgasms and laughter, between the shower, the dining room, and the living room. It was 10 o'clock at night, and I had to go. I only had a few days left at work, and my colleagues were holding a brief farewell. There were only a few of them Latinos, from this country, Asians, and people of other religions, but they respected me. I couldn't imagine what Lady Lena had in store for me, so I'd never forget her. I have to get ready, Anora. Look, I'll let you have my motorcycle, since Elena prefers a car. This year, when she turns 15, she's going to drive.
At least I'll do it in style. She took my hands, like a businesswoman without presumptions. In any case, you'll be moving to another country, not a galaxy. I'll visit you when I can, and your shares in my company will increase in value over time. Don't let your obligations overwhelm you. I mean, don't neglect them either. Jimmy has more experience. I'll leave the finances to him, and I'll handle the creative side. A lot has happened to you. You're stronger and smarter than before. I would have been lost without you, my friend. She hugged me from behind. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Anora. I love that song. Please turn it up. On the radio, Mike Oldfield and Maggie Riley's Moonlight Shadow was playing. It was perfect for what we were experiencing and feeling. You know, I burned the light blue dress I wore to Vanya's mansion for the first time. How stupid. I'm not supposed to talk about him anymore. I confess I've always felt alone. You're leaving next weekend. Anora burst into tears. I ran to hug her, apologizing for not being able to stay, but deep down we both knew the inevitable was the best thing for both of us. I remember the first time I looked out his enormous window. It was just another job, and he was a child among men, but his innocence amused me. It was fun afterward, just mindless fun. It was a beautiful view. It was cold, but the snow hadn't fallen yet. Then, after he got bored of me, when I saw him again, the snow had covered the leaves. I didn't cry that day. I don't think I felt anything, just embarrassment. Diamond was right. I was also afraid. I had lost my job. I think I should learn to live in wide open spaces. As I told you, we're similar in that regard. Push yourself forward, I replied, trying to encourage her. Never give up in the face of pain. And don't stop in the face of any obstacle, she replied, returning to her cheerfulness. You know Anora? Yes, she interrupted, as if reading my mind. I stayed with her all night. It was going to be difficult to get used to hearing her breathing. My last week in New York had come to an end. The first goodbye was with Letty, Lena, Elena, and their siblings. I didn't have much luggage, and Iggy helped me carry it to the airport. It was a calm, cloudy day, but somewhere between melancholy and passivity. We arrived at the airport, and I found a small entourage coming to say goodbye, although I didn't spot Anora among the small group of people. Lulu was the first to approach me and give me a hug. Don't lose the thing I gave you for your birthday. You have my number. Don't forget me or to say hi when mine arrives. Don't forget us, darling, said the brunette next to the Asian girl. Here are our numbers. When you get back, if you want, We can repeat your birthday, the other girl whispered at the end. If I were Annie, I would have kidnapped you, my friend, I heard Diamond say loudly. But you have to see your family, and you better come back, or I'll come looking for you. He laughed at the end. Here, so you don't forget me. He gave me his underwear in a bag. Take care of it, it's not a trinket. Son, I think I already told you what I had to tell you, Toro said, hugging me. You're a real man. Yes, Garnick added. She's a girl who hit me hard in the nose, but you hit her in the heart. Next time we'll have another Star Wars marathon, my friend, Igor added, hugging me back. I like those movies, the good ones, of course. Even the one with Diego Luna, I added. I love that one. I love Diego Luna. I liked Y Tu Mama tambien. Luna, like a friend very similar to Lulu. And another girl named Luna Bella who visited the club, very good at pole dancing, although not as good as Anora. Me too, I replied, smiling and reciprocating his embrace dash. I couldn't see Anora face to face until I could smell that scent that would always remind me of her, of the land of her grandparents, of Mother Russia. Yarrow, your signature scent, Anora. I turned around and she was there, somewhere between a smile and sadness. She approached me slowly, her moist eyes fixed on mine. You better come back, or I'll go to your country and kidnap you, I swear to God, pointing his finger at my chest, then falling on top of it dash. Anora, I'm coming back. I couldn't live without breathing your perfume. I love that scent. You won't have to kidnap me, though I'd love to. She looked at me, her eyes moist, her makeup melting. I caressed her face and wiped away her tears dash. I'll keep dancing, I'll keep breathing, I'll keep eating healthy, I'll keep exercising, and I'll stay away from vices for you. I feel so much better because of you. You were my hero, and now I must try to be a heroine for others, for my girls, my friends. You were a survivor. You faced everything, and now you've gotten what you deserve, thanks to your hard work and a little luck. I'm so lucky that you lived a few blocks from my sister's house, she laughed shakily, that you happened to be jogging by. And that we ran into each other at that cafe. And that you didn't abandon me in Las Vegas. I'd never abandon you, I'm not. Yvonne El Trelezo, laughing loudly and hitting me lightly on the chest dash. I want to remember you like this, she caressed him and smiled. When I get there, I'll call you. Do it every day, to give myself the illusion that you haven't left. Count on it, but if I stop doing it for a short while, it doesn't mean I've left you behind. You made my days interesting. And you, I know I've told you this ad nauseum, but... Anora fell silent briefly, looking at me with a mixture of melancholy, resignation, and resilience. You must take care of yourself. I know you can do it. That's why. I hope I don't lose contact with you, since I can't do anything to prevent you from leaving. It's stupid to say I can take care of myself. Without you, without Igor, without Lulu and the other girls, I'd be lost. If you ask me to take care of myself, I'll ask the same of you. Wordlessly, I hugged her tightly. I wanted to take her beautiful hair and her scent with me. It wasn't necessary. She'd cut a small piece of hair and gave it to me, tied in a purple ribbon. She smiled as she placed it in my hand, then leaned on top of me, holding me tightly. Well, you should go now. It's a see you later, not a final goodbye, right? Anyway, I'll be able to visit you. We'll have a YouTube channel, visit us. Visit mine too. See you soon, Anora. See you soon, she let go of my hand with difficulty dash.
As I walked away from her, I could see the rest of the friends who had accompanied us saying goodbye, their expressions a mix of seriousness and joy mixed with sadness. Now that I was in front of them, she retained her look of melancholy and resignation, something similar to if I were Sam Wheat and she were Molly Jensen. I didn't want to disconnect from her, because every moment I spent with her was music to me. For this moment, I played When You Love Someone by Bryan Adams in privacy. Once settled on the plane, an avalanche of memories came flooding back, some fun ones, like when you wanted to let off steam while dancing in Las Vegas and your little buffer died. I had to put my cell phone to sleep when it was low on battery. You had to do it to the beat of a radio playing in the distance, because the battery only lasted a minute. Or when I had to carry your light body when you couldn't go on after running 5 kilometers. You needed practice, which you gained weeks later, thanks to quitting smoking. I remember you cried at the end of Shadow of the Colossus, or how it always hurts you when Master Jin is mortally wounded, or when a young Eni is mutilated, whose name, by the way, is similar to yours, and both emerge from the darkness by making a great sacrifice. I'm glad I was there in your darkest moments and helped keep you from sinking any lower. I loved that night when you had your big day and they announced you as the owner of the place where you worked until you were up all night. I just received your message, and you dedicated it to me via WhatsApp, time after time. I'm sure you're as sad as Cyndi Lauper at the end of the music video for this song. Yes, I imagine you glued to the airport window watching me leave, although, of course, I'm the one leaving. Anora, you're staying in this part of the planet, in the north, like a Mel C song. You'll be my North Star, but I'll always rise from the south so I can be illuminated by you again. I arrived in Lima and didn't stay long. I had a decent amount of money and not much luggage. There was news of a danger coming from the east, slowly approaching, and about to reach this continent. I hurried to take the first bus to my home in another city, one in the northeastern jungle of my country. Upon arriving, I felt an enormous change, because the small city where I had lived most of my life was the size of one of the boroughs of New York. I could even cross it in a few hours. I arrived home, and much of my family, whom I hadn't seen before, came out to meet me, including my beloved Rex, already advanced in years, but still strong. That night I contacted Anora. Her voice felt ecstatic to hear me again. Seeing her smile again lit up my soul. We talked for hours. She told me she had heard about this danger coming from Asia. So, according to her, it was because she had felt a stirring in the force she decided to ask Val for advice if a situation like the one in the movie Contagion happened. He had told her that we're fortunate to live in a time where the internet can be a tool if we need to expand our businesses or if we can't leave home or the city. I remembered some of our conversations, about using social media and home deliveries. March arrived, along with a new job, along with the pandemic, a situation worthy of a movie script. I was worried about my friend Anora, and how she would handle her business. I decided to call her in the first few days of March. "Hello, Ghost," she answered, as she was about to go to sleep. "Forgive me, I've eaten very little these days, and I've been feeling a bit unbearable." "Hello, beautiful," I replied, quite worried. "How are you there? Are you and all the girls okay? Is Iggy okay, Letty, Lena, Elena, and the others?"
Honey, the streets look like the first episode of The Walking Dead. There's less noise, but seeing the real-life set of 28 Days Later is too unsettling. Don't worry, I called Val, and she gave me more free advice. Use the internet, make door-to-door sales. We were already doing that. Our OnlyFans, our YouTube channel, and Instagram accounts. We have a lot of clients, and we've practically turned the headquarters into a studio with lights and even a shower, like in Flashdance. People love it. Regarding the candy store, we've imported from other countries, even from yours, and with the birthday delivery service, it's gone more than well. Isabella, the girl I told you about, studied business administration. She pole dances because she loves it, and even so, she's managed my finances wonderfully. Jimmy doesn't want to retire. I won't let him. He has more experience in this and doesn't say it, but he's happy about the changes our business has undergone. I felt an overwhelming joy when I heard her words. She confessed that she used my motorcycle to go to work and that she always said hello to Letty Lena for me. My room was now occupied by a young man of Mexican origin who wasn't so concerned about learning Russian. Forgive me, but I painted your motorcycle, although it's mine now, pink and lilac. That very depressing military gray didn't suit it. I laughed at that and told her I loved her style. She'd also curled her hair. March 25th arrived, and I greeted her on her birthday 2 hours before my mother's. Our conversation was long and we bonded, as if we were standing face to face. My sister came to visit me. She'd broken up with her boyfriend. She needed me. We hugged for long minutes. I feel so happy to have part of my family back. Now if she asks me for eggs or milk, I make her some delicious cernikis, just like I used to make them for you, and they always turn out wonderfully, as you can see. Yes, I remembered that. I also loved your Cernikis. The end of 2020 arrived, as always. She was celebrating a Christmas-themed Hanukkah, something she had passed on to her sister, who apparently looked better, more beautiful, and had a better character. They were now living together. 2021 arrived, and our conversations continued on her special days. She never stopped communicating, although I was a little concerned about her physical condition in the preceding months, as she had gained some weight. I worried that she wasn't exercising anymore. Although she returned to her athletic, high-energy self by the end of the year. So the months passed. I always sent my earnings, as I was a minority shareholder in her companies. She had become the face of them. I followed your advice, my friend, and sold my life story to a very young and attractive filmmaker. His last name is Baker. I think he'll focus on me. I told him about you, but he said those kinds of stories didn't interest him yet. I love that song, Manic Monday by the Bangles was playing in the background. It reminds me of the noise we made on Mondays. It was fun, you know. Luckily, I didn't have many neighbors.
Between the middle of this year and the beginning of the next, I began to experience profound losses. Negrita, a dog who had restored my Rex's youth, died of an infection. My beloved Rex passed away months later due to his age. He was no longer the man he'd once been. He used to be strong, a leader in his neighborhood, and an adventurer. I didn't hide it from Anora. She told me she had reconciled with her parents and that they accepted what she did. Anora no longer slept with anyone else for money. She confessed to me that after a moment of passion that January 1, 2020, she no longer felt attraction to anyone else, as if I had cured her of insensitivity. Now she was focused on more important things. She pole danced, but as an artist, no longer as a stripper in a cheap salon. She consoled me with her words, and we both cried together, for she, too, loved dogs.
I wish I were there. It's not fair that bad things happen to you, while I'm here and doing well despite the difficulties the pandemic brought us. You've suffered so much, Anora. If you're okay, that makes me happy. That's the most important thing. Anora stayed with me all night on a dark February 10th. I think we both got a little drunk via Zoom, though not enough to shock us. Then at the end of the year, on the 27th, my father also passed away. Love, I'm so sorry. Crying softly, I reconciled with my father and have earned his admiration. I owe it to you, who rescued me from the hole I was trapped in. Your loss is mine too. Anora was fortunate to still have her father nearby, and that he accepted her for who she is, no longer a stripper or a lady-in-waiting, but now someone worthy of Cirque du Soleil. Again via Zoom at the beginning of 2023, we got drunk on my grief. I advised her to go have fun with her friends, but she refused. You won't have another bitter New Year like 2018, I swear. It was beautiful when my father walked into my dressing room at this year's pageant, a competition commemorating the near end of the pandemic. We had a long conversation. You know, I didn't tell you this, forgive me, how careless. He's from St. Petersburg and immigrated to this country in the 1990s. I told you he was a Protestant. Well, he's a Baptist. As I mentioned, he's open-minded, and that's why he broke his rules and married a Jew like my mother, but without objecting to her rituals and celebrations, he let her remain that way. I reiterate that because I told him about you and how you saved me like my personal Jesus Christ. I told him my whole story, and instead of reproaching me, he hugged me tightly and made me communicate with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, of course. My paternal grandmother is no longer with us. I spoke to her in the Russian she taught me since I was a child. When I went out to compete, she stood in the front row. This time I got third place, and it felt like first place to him. He gave me a big bouquet of flowers, like the one you gave me that time I danced for you at the club and then for my birthday. At my house, my sister and I chatted. He was even surprised to see how much I'd changed. He told me I looked like Yevgenia Konaeva. He stayed all day and cooked for me and Vera. If you've lost your father, I can share mine with you, since according to him, because of what you did for me, you've become a saint in our family. Don't worry, I didn't tell him about our romps and sit-ins, so your reputation is intact. I was somewhere between laughing and crying, and that I didn't deserve such superlatives. There was nothing saintly about me, being one would be boring. I told Anora that what I did for her was because I never abandoned a friend, and that she needed all the affection she could get. She was a girl, a woman, and out of principle and humanity, I stayed by her side. Besides, she knew beforehand, it was also out of love. Just as 2023 came, it went. She started achieving great things in the year that was just beginning. The film based on her story had premiered 4 days before her birthday at a prestigious festival. I felt happy for her. A screwball comedy was what she had experienced, something closer to reality, or reality itself. She deserved it. Everything bad that happened to her was a test of her character, even my compassion for her.
Hello, Ghost, although you're no longer one. I haven't told you yet about an anecdote that happened to me with, my ex-husband's joke, laughing softly. Earlier this year, in February, Valentine's Day to be exact, he visited my place with his entourage of bootlickers. I think he was impressed with the improvements we made. A new girl served him. He wanted a private dance, even though we told him we no longer rubbed our asses against customers' crotches, we do something better. He got a little pushy, but when he realized we had a large clientele, he stayed. Even so, he wanted a girl to take with him, muttering that his girlfriend was as cold as an iceberg, like a Siberian tundra. Lulu told him that girls don't do that anymore and that sending them with strangers was dangerous, although if he wants a service like this, we can give him the number of girls who provide the service and are protected by us. The guy wanted a girl from the club and insisted on speaking to the boss. Lulu told him Jimmy had gone out to eat, but that the other club owner could serve him. You should have seen his face when I introduced myself to him. I asked him to take a picture of me and give it to his mom. I had to step back for a bit so I could laugh out loud in private. Once I'd calmed down, I joined him for a moment. I told him my story and, in the process, thanked him for not making me part of his family. He wanted to win me over again and made a bunch of excuses and insinuations. I returned the insult he'd given me as a farewell gift at that airport. You won't sleep with any girl in this club, Yvonne the Trelazzo. Or are you an idiot? He left, sort of angry and embarrassed. Goodbye to You by Scandal played in the background, more than perfect for the occasion. I accompanied him for a moment. I told him my story and, in passing, thanked him for not making me part of his family. He tried to win me back and made a bunch of excuses. I returned the insult he'd given me as a farewell gift at that airport. You won't sleep with any girl in this club, Yvonne El Trelazzo. Or are you an idiot? He left, let's say, between angry and embarrassed. Goodbye to You by Scandal played in the background, perfect for the occasion. I laughed my head off at what he'd told me. Karma comes to us all, I replied. He should have protected you when he was with you, become a hero to you, your hero. He's just a rich kid, he's not made of hero material. But you are, staring at me.
Despite receiving my earnings monthly, I decided to accept a job far from the small town where I lived, returning on the weekends. Anyway, the year ended and the quarter century arrived. I would have turned 47, and she would have been 26. I decided to dedicate myself to my own thing this year. Since my teaching job didn't come along at the beginning of the year, I decided to write this story as a form of therapy, since the film based on my friend's story had affected me deeply. I felt terrible for not having been able to comfort her when she was humiliated and rejected by that Russian family, by that stone-faced woman who surely wore the pants at home. The last scenes touched me deeply, especially seeing her lying in bed and waking up like an orphan child who didn't want to go out into the cold and face her failure and heartbreak. I experienced that moment in real life, and I suffered for not having comforted her then. I jumped for joy when she swept the Oscars. And I was surprised by how much the actress they chose to play you resembled you. I would love to write something for her. She would be perfect for a villainous role, one like Queen Bevmorda, from a film Anora and I enjoyed very much. It was perfect. I'd already played two psychopaths before, who ended up looking like Al Simmons or Darth Vader himself. What a coincidence. My 47th birthday finally arrived. I was listening to Rick Astley's Cry to Help. I was proficient on the piano, not at the level of Elton John or Richard Clayderman, but I was doing well. I'd like to perform it, but a gospel choir, only in New York. My brother decided to celebrate me. I hated birthday parties, except of course the one Anora threw me in 2019, that was memorable. There was a piano in the room, so I approached it. I'd rehearsed a lot on a synthesizer I had at home, playing Bruce Hornsby's The Way It Is, and I could already play it perfectly. I decided to give it a try, taking advantage of the fact that no one was using it. When I finished, I realized that no one had cared about my impromptu recital. Everyone was distracted by their damn cell phones, except for a little curly-haired boy standing next to me. It wasn't until I finished that I noticed him. He smiled sweetly and, in simple English, told me that his mom wanted to see me. I woke up, it was already 6:45 in the evening, and people were starting to fill up. I saw a woman in front of me next to a motorcycle taxi, with curly hair and not very thin. "Excuse me," I announced in a New York accented English I still remembered. But when she turned around, it was Vera, Anora's sister, which made my heart leap. She must be here. When she saw me, she smiled, then made a gesture as if someone was about to surprise me behind my back. Although she didn't actually do so, I already knew that fragrance, her own, yarrow, which smelled exquisite on her. I suddenly felt delicate hands with well-manicured nails affectionately covering my eyes.
Guess what? Beautiful breasts, firm ass, delicate legs, long hair like Nicolette Larson's, and a wild temper in bed, in perfect Spanish, my native language. "Anora," I said excitedly. I turned to her, and as I looked at her, I could see her. Seeing her in person after all these years disturbed me. She looked more radiant than ever. Her jet-black hair was still long, and she had curled it. I missed her large, piercing eyes, her beautiful aquiline nose, and her wide mouth whose full lips could devour you with a smile. "You look great, my friend, you haven't aged at all," she replied, sounding sincere. "You look better, you look more beautiful than ever. Much more so than the last time we saw each other in person." I curled my hair, and since you asked me to, I never cut it. I didn't want to look ugly for you. There's no way you could look ugly. Well, almost 5 years ago, I gained a lot of weight, and I had to take a vacation at the end of 2020. Without Vera, I would have had a very difficult time. Although only at night, he has many aunts. I don't think there was any need to guess that the little boy was hers. I put on a face somewhere between surprise, joy for Anora, and curiosity. Yes, my friend, he's my boy. My reason for living now. The reason to stay sober, healthy, and stay away from temptations. I want to live well for him, calling his boy and sitting down so he could hug him. Say hello, my love. He's our friend. He saved your mother from her own destruction. I sat down to get down to the boy's level. I stared at him, and it was as if I were looking at myself at his age. It was incredible, since his mother is the woman with whom I'd been closest for the longest time. "Hello, child," shaking his hand. "You have your mother's eyes, just like her hair." And the nose, Anora came forward, almost like Adrian Brody's. "His father?" I asked, looking everywhere and searching for a potential mate. A little relieved, a little jealous, a little worried. "He doesn't have a father," she replied seriously. "I conceived him, gave birth to him, and raised him." I didn't know how it happened. Anora noticed my bewilderment and gradually transformed her face from serious to laughing heartily. "You fell, partner, don't worry. He wasn't conceived by midichlorians, nor did an angel visit me, although, come to think of it, I was, and it was you. I gave him an unusual combination of names, one Nordic and one Arabic. Thanks to my baby boy, I was able to make peace with my parents, and I'm closer than ever with my sister. Plus, the girls at the club are very fond of him. He's called Jimmy and Iggy uncle, laughing until I was almost down, even Diamond, aunt, but Lulu is the one who spoils him the most. Regarding his father, I won't ask anything of him, but when he's ready, I'll make him know and love him, play with him, and even from a distance, help me raise him, and he'll be able to see me whenever he wants. God exists, my friend, and he's given me great things, even though I was never a great person. You saw in me more than a skin to keep you warm. He gave me friends who protect me, my family back, and this little blessing whom I love with all my soul. I'm infinitely happy for you. If there is a God, he took me to you, but I don't believe I'm your savior, no more than what you did for yourself. She smiled, gave her son a deep kiss, and stood up to approach me. The truth is, he took me to you, you fed me, and then you helped me move on. To be a better person. You were the best therapist anyone could ask for. A beautiful pink song came to mind, fucking perfect. Its video reminds me of myself. Its ending is what I'll do for my little one, protect him so he doesn't go through what I did. Protect him, but not too much, or it'll be like that song from the I Don't Know Who and the I Don't Know How Many. I was Lorna. Anora laughed again. She knew about this song. We'd heard it years ago, and I had to translate it verbatim. I'll be like Shmi Skywalker, meaning she let him fly and take risks, but I won't die when he needs it most. My boy is very smart. He's at the top of his class according to his teachers. I think he has good genes. Staring at me, Anora sighed. The immense love she felt for her boy was evident. I felt so happy for her that my chest felt like it was going to explode. How long will you be staying? I hope it's a long time. Today is your birthday, and I wanted to see you, in addition to getting to know your country. Tomorrow, we'll leave for Tarapoto, then Lima, and then return home. In half a year, we'll take a tour of the coast and the mountains, Trujillo, Chiclayo, Cusco, etc. Then we'll go to Japan. I wish you'd join us. Remember, I asked you to be my tour guide when I tour your beautiful country. A beautiful pink song came to mind, fucking perfect. Its video reminds me of myself. Its ending is what I'll do for my little one, protect him so he doesn't go through what I did. Protect him, but not too much, or it'll be like that song from the I Don't Know Who and the I Don't Know How Many. I was Lorna. Anora laughed again. She knew about this song. We'd heard it years ago, and I had to translate it verbatim. I'll be like Shmi Skywalker, meaning she let him fly and take risks, but I won't die when he needs it most. My boy is very smart. He's at the top of his class according to his teachers. I think he has good genes. Looking at me fixedly, Anora sighed. The immense love she felt for her boy was evident. I was so happy for her that I felt like my chest was going to explode. How long will you be staying? I hope it's a long time. Today is your birthday, and I wanted to see you, in addition to getting to know your country. Tomorrow, we'll leave for Tarapoto, then Lima, and then return home. The next year, we'll take a tour of the coast and the mountains, Trujillo, Chiclayo, Cusco, etc. Then we'll go to Japan. I'd love for you to join us. Remember, I asked you to be my tour guide when I tour your beautiful country. I forgot I had some obligations, but I couldn't refuse my dear friend now. I didn't want to disappoint her anymore, so I accepted. I confess I don't like taking photos. I know, although I love the photos on your Instagram account. The ones you captured with that Sony Ericsson are beautiful. They're from a time before I met you, even before 2013. It's an artificial lagoon next to a school now. It used to be a quarry, and the water wasn't so clear back then. I got some magic with 2 megapixels. My friend, you took excellent photos with such old equipment. Mr. Baker could perhaps use you. The secret was the light. I have a lot to learn, too much, I'd say. But you have instincts. As I follow them now in my role as a mother, you should follow them. Many of the themed parties we threw at headquarters came to mind. She smiled broadly, as if reading my mind, as if we agreed on the same thing. Remember last Halloween? All the girls dressed as zombies, me as corpse bride. How can we forget the somewhat uneven Triller choreography we did? It went so wrong that some girls were hitting each other with their arms and going where they shouldn't have. When we did the Star Wars theme, the girls dressed as, what are they called? Wait, I remember, Twi'leks. I painted my body red. The next day it was a pain to get that paint off. letting out a spontaneous, slightly loud laugh, but it was a great night. The customers were very friendly and left good money. You, as Darth Revan, were spooky but fun. And then princesses from Disney and other brands, always watching out so they don't sue us for copyright. She let out a light laugh. Yes, she added, I dressed up as an abandoned and distraught Cinderella. Friend, the night of March 2nd was incredible. Congratulations. I was watching the ceremony, but you weren't there and they didn't mention you. I asked Maestro Baker to pass this story off as his. I preferred anonymity, you know, for my son's sake. I didn't tell him everything that happened on that plane with my ex-mother-in-law. She even tried to physically attack me while my ex-husband laughed about it. Except for my father-in-law, whose respect I've earned since he went to the club to apologize for not defending me, and our friends Toros and Garnick. He let me know that he put Dona Galina in her place and forbade her from filing any lawsuits for this revelation about her family. There were also other details, which you must surely remember. Like, he didn't like the 69 position, or he came too quickly, holding back laughter. He vaped so much that, as they say in my country, his wrist was droopy. A little sad and a bit careless, she laughed uncontrollably, and I had to hold her. I loved seeing her so happy. Thank God I left that nicotine-filled mess a long time ago, and I'll stay this clean. I won't be a speck of ash anymore. You're not a speck, friend. You're better than they think. Not at that time, you know? Miss Madison, whom I met, and we were surprised by the resemblance. We became good friends later, gave a very beautiful, though misunderstood, speech. I told her about you, about how you think of us. Yes, Anora. Not all of us have a love life like a movie, and the girls who work in this profession are a salvation from loneliness and the boredom of flying a kite. They deserve all the respect, protection, and love I can give them. When I watched Game of Thrones and paid attention to that redhead named Rose, I imagined you saving her from being turned into a pincushion. Like you did to me, turning me into a street zombie. Me too, Anora, and I was like King Kong rescuing and protecting Andrea. But even if I'm still alive, I couldn't bear to see you fall from the Empire State Building. By the way, how did you meet Sean Baker? He came to the club a year after you left, with Mr. Tarantino. They were surprised by our show and wanted to use it as a set later. Unfortunately, we couldn't rent it because we were remodeling and he couldn't wait, but he filmed some scenes there. I told him about you and about your vampire story to Mr. Tarantino. You know, he hates conventional things, and your story captivated him. Well, what little he remembered of what you managed to tell me. I remember you once told me about Mr. Baker. I thought you already knew him. I was captivated by his movie The Florida Project. I saw it before I met you. Its plot reminded me of my situation. I think that's where my desire to be a Disney princess came from. Only life is very hard. That's why I decided to toughen up my body, and instead of being a fragile little princess, I'd be a Valkyrie for my son, like those female knights from Saint Seiya, Shayna, Marine, June. Bayonetta is one of his favorite games. He sees me in her, and that's why I wear glasses when I watch him play, even though I don't need them. You look much better, really. Motherhood has been wonderful for you. I now have Jessica Biel's ass in her prime, as well as her hips. Hilary Swank's lifted, but in $1 Million Baby. Since I do a lot of fitness, my friend, I have to do it if I want to be an international pole dancing star. I didn't tell you, I joined a pole dancing club in Japan. The Japanese girls are incredible, true athletes and artists. I was there and they amazed me. That's why I'm going back with my son next year to look after my business, and you'll be joining me. Don't you dare refuse. Impossible, I replied excitedly. Besides, I want to buy classic consoles. We'll buy them. You won't have that fun alone. Besides, I want my little one to get to know them and enjoy them. I confess I hate cell phone games. What time will you leave tomorrow? At 9 o'clock in the morning. I know you love dogs. Please join me to visit my Rex and my Negrita. I planted a guava tree where they rest. It was better than a cold tombstone. Life for life. And then, as for your dad, I'll postpone my trip for a few hours, maybe one day. Look, you're my best friend, and I'll never leave you alone for anything in the world. You never did. Then we'll go eat with my family and yours. I'll treat. Thanks to you. No, we'll both partner. I'll adopt a mixed breed dog like yours for my boy. That'll teach him responsibility and empathy. I just hope that when he has to leave, it doesn't affect him so much that he can't see Old Yeller or Marley and I or Hachiko Monogatari. Well, both versions. The ending of Dragon Heart affects me and my mother too. It sounds cheesy, but honey, no one should care. If you were like them, you would have abandoned me to my fate. That's what I teach my boy, and what's more, I have him as my #1 fan. I liked your workout videos. The music you put on. Thanks, dude. A Saiyajin training that leaves my body in pieces. Dua Lipa's physical inspired me, as it reminds me of our pranks, though without turning off the lights. Then I do Trepak and Beryaska, plus Ukrainian Hopik, a great leg workout. I do it to the rhythm of Genghis Khan. I hope you followed along. They're excellent tutorials.
Miguel suddenly appeared. Anora, this is my brother Mickey.
A pleasure, Mickey. Like the actress who plays me, well, not so similar. Your brother told me about you, and he said you were very handsome, but I didn't imagine you were that handsome. Hello, he replied in English, and then in our native language. Lunch is about to be served. Miguel smiled at my friend. She stared at him without letting go of his hand, until I whispered, "He has a girlfriend, and she's right behind you." Anora quickly withdrew her hand. I laughed lightly, although she took it well. "I'll be there in a minute," I told her, which made her withdraw. He's too serious. I don't think he felt very comfortable holding my hand. Did you tell him about my old profession? No, I exclaimed softly. Nobody knows that, and nobody should care. Forget about that. You're a new woman now, a new person. The reason is that you were holding the hand so tightly. So, what do you want me to do? He looks like Chris Evans or Captain America. Anora laughed, hugging me like someone who now sees beyond appearances and considers me her hero, even though I don't have my brother's police badge. We're going to dinner. Would you like to join us? No, thank you, another day. I just came to say hi and see how you were. Another day, I'll let you know. It'll be like the dinners we had in New York. Hey, that beautiful girl is my sister-in-law. Don't tell me you're still single. I'm a terrible flirt. I confess I've had paid lovers, but none of them were me. Me too, but they weren't you, and I used to get bored quickly. Besides, I've been really busy. Forgive me, but we have to go. Happy birthday from me and Vera and my little one. Check our channel. There's a message from our friends in New York. Okay, but at least stay and listen to my rendition of Bruce Hornsby's The Way It Is. I wouldn't miss that for anything.
Anora, her little boy, and Vera, her sister, settled into a chair near my brother, my mother, and my sister-in-law. Apparently, my first performance caught the attention of some musicians who were about to take the stage in a few minutes. "Dude, shall we join you?" one of them asked me. It was apparently the drummer. I just nodded. I began to play, accompanied by the drummer at first, followed by the bassist and the keyboardist, whose solo made me shed a few tears. I remembered the tattoos on your delicate, now strong legs. Of course, they were black bows, not butterflies. Anora said goodbye to me by hugging me tightly and asked her little boy to do the same. Being near that child, I felt a great closeness, as if I were embracing myself, as if a part of me were within him and vice versa. Anora didn't want to confess who the father was, she was just joking. Perhaps the closeness I feel toward the boy is only due to the compassion and affection she felt for his mother, or a mere illusion. But if she decides not to reveal who his father is, I will wait. I'm not ready for that responsibility, I confess. But Anora has shown she's grown a lot over the years and wouldn't let herself be swayed by selfishness that would make her back down. She preferred to live fully now. Anora was moving away from me, carrying her child on her shoulders. It was clear she adored the boy, he was now her ultimate reason for existing. She turned around and, smiling, both of them waved goodbye. I heard my brother and my mother's voices calling me to eat. I sighed and smiled, nothing else mattered. Now Anora, the important thing is that you're okay, that you're going to be okay. I was about to have dinner when I received a text from her.
Darling, do you remember the song Moi Lolita by Alizée? Did you see the video? When I was 14, I did the same thing at a college party, running away from home. Vera followed me, but she couldn't catch me. I made it back home before being discovered.
My friend, you always manage to make me laugh. I thank God I can do the same with you.